Thank you for staying tuned. Well, activities in the fixed income market started the month on the bearish note. Now it's the second day of trading into the new month. Let's see how the market is reading the GDP numbers. Ramat Baba, Chief Dealer Fixed Income at FBN Quest, joins us now from the FMDQ market, please. Good morning, Ramat.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
So what drove the bearish sentiment we saw in the market yesterday?
That should be on the fixed income side. So we noticed there were sales in the January bills. Well, funny enough, on the October bills, there were net buys at the end of the day because on the October bills, yields actually came slightly lower, while on the January bills, of course, they went up because of the volume sold. I'll really say it was mixed trading, mixed reactions, really, because there were sales and then there were buys, really. Prior to now, we're seeing a bit of exit from the offshore, and then at a point there was a reversal given the recent rate cut in Egypt and all. So we saw some of these guys coming back into the market. But I think last week Friday there was a bit of sales on bonds as well, but it wasn't anything major. And then yesterday was just pretty much sales on the January bills and then purchases on the October bills. Besides that, it wasn't anything major.
Okay. Now, the GDP numbers came out this morning. How is that expected to drive sentiment today in the market?
Sorry, can you say that again?
The GDP numbers released this morning. How is it expected to drive market sentiment today?
Okay, so to be honest, I don't really think there will be any major reaction in the market. At least at the open, market was quiet as at 10 o'clock. Not much had happened up until 10:30. So I think pretty much not much is going to happen unless there's some other major news coming into the market that will drive people's or change people's perception of markets. And then don't forget, the MPC holds this at the end of this month. And really with Egypt and the expectations that there will be further rate cuts there, we might still see a bit of buys on the side.
All right, what about the currency side? What's happening there?
Okay, so the FMDQ recently released the NAFEX close report for August, which covered the period from 1st of August to 23rd of August. And that actually showed that the CBN has intervened with about 1.68 billion in the FX market, of course. During the period, of course, like I said, because there were sales and exit of the offshore guys, we saw FX rates going up, and at some point there was scarcity of dollars. Well, because the CBN has continued to intervene in the market. During that period, we saw rates go as high as 365 levels, but right now, currently, close of business yesterday, NAFEX at 362 for levels. That's from 362.5 on Friday. So really, I think it's just going to be a bit of stability, given that the CBN has continued to show its strength and its ability to defend the currency.
All right. Thank you, Ramat, for your time.
You're welcome.
And on the equities market side, let's cross over now to Temple at the Stock Exchange. Good morning again, Temple. So what sentiment have you observed in the market this morning, particularly with the latest GDP numbers?
Well, I'm not sure the GDP number is something to actually really move the market, but traders are just here doing their normal business, buying and selling. But things are really flat. If you look at the status of the key benchmark indices at this point, it's flat 0.00%. That's what we're seeing. There hasn't been much trades so far as well, other than what we're seeing around Dangote Flour, UAC Properties, and UAC Nigeria. We're seeing some profits taking and some sell down across these counters. Dangote Flour has risen up to 21 naira yesterday, but at this point we're seeing profits taken on this particular company right now. It's lost some 5 kobo, so it's doing some 20 naira 95 kobo as we speak right now, because again, you know, yesterday we got a notice from the company Dangote Flour asking its shareholders and everyone who's bought into the stocks of the company to regularize their papers, you know, with their registrar. That will be EDC registrar. If you haven't done your e-dividend registration, you should verify and do all of that on or before Friday, the 20th of September. And of course, they have proper registration for those that have to register. They have to do theirs they have up to 27th of September for that. This is because the company is about to be taken over by Olam Nigeria Limited, given the deal struck with Mr. Aliko Dangote, who is the major controlling shareholder in this company. For UAC Properties, we're seeing a sell down on that company because they announced recently that they will be carrying out some kind of a recapitalization and restructuring exercise on the company. And so that is affecting the sentiment of investors towards this company right now. The appetite for this company right now is really, really low. It's lost more than 6% in early trades today since the announcement, even though we know that the Securities and Exchange Commission is yet to grant approval for this particular exercise that the directors and some major stakeholders in there are trying to carry out. But that's the sense we have right now of Equitas. Perhaps before the close of the market, we'll see, we'll be able to juxtapose or just judge how much of implication the Q2 GDP numbers, will have on the equities markets today, Chimeze.
All right, well, we'll wait to get that later on our afternoon show. What are traders' stock pick for today from all that you have said?
Well, I think the banking names are still the names that they are looking at. Just that some the traders are currently waiting to see how the early trades will look like. Yesterday, they had seen the prices of the likes of Zenith Bank, the likes of UBA, and Access Bank. Tier 1 names basically, trading at relatively low prices. So they took advantage of those cheap stocks. And so this morning, they're strategically sitting on the fence to see how things will pan out eventually before they put money on it, before perhaps they go ahead to, buy more or reduce their holdings on it. But for the likes of UBA, I think investors will continue to buy that, given the dividend payout that has been proposed. The 20 kobo is to be paid to investors. Of course, I think today Zenith Bank is doing the payments of their own dividends to investors. So they've been the third, or yesterday stroke today. So that's, investors will probably just waiting to see if there will be some form of capital appreciation on that. So that's something. Those are the two key stocks I see investors picking for today. Access Bank, they're waiting for 15th of September when the company will release its numbers. That's the date that was given, that was announced, that it won't be later than that before this particular company releases their figure, which will be H1 2019, which is currently before the Central Bank of Nigeria. But there is no inkling at this point as to how much the company will be paying out. But we've seen a lot of traders, buying that. Yesterday, they also bet on it, trying to see how much they will be able to gain. Because, again, if you look at the overall market performance, it hasn't been too good in recent time. If you go by the earnings, not much companies actually, propose dividends enough for investors to actually lock in their funds into that, or their savings into that. So folks here are just trying to strategically rejig portfolio, do the evaluations and see where they should put money, see where they should reduce at the end of the day. I think those are the stocks to watch going forward. But if anything, if what we're seeing around Seplat is anything to go by, actually, given the price that's 397 naira right now, and of course how the chairman's story has now rattled that particular stock, some investors, once they see more clarity around this particular company, some investors will take advantage of this below 400 naira price, because the support level for Seplat is actually 550 naira, Chimeze.
All right, Temple, we'll wait to get your update later today. Thank you. Well, we'll wrap it up on the show for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi. Wow.